Welcome to this video on financial responsibilities. My name is Joel Christensen. I'm with the Community Development Unit of Alberta Culture, Multiculturalism, and Status of Women. Before I begin, I would like to mention that the goal of our board development video series is for board members of nonprofit organizations to have the basic knowledge, skills, and tools to be successful in their work. We realize that some of you are not board members, and that's fine. But we want you to be aware that the information, concepts, and ideas presented are from board member perspectives. Also, the information presented here is aimed at an introductory level or as a refresher for board members to ensure that they have the base level understanding of board governance concepts and principles needed to successfully do their work. We do have other resources that we can share with you, such as our toolkit. There is a link in the description of this video to our toolkit that provides additional resources and links that we think are helpful for you and your nonprofit organization as you tackle your governance issues. Included in this toolkit is a copy of the slides we use in this video and all of the videos in our board development video series. You can also hit the subscribe button down below and turn the notification on. This will give you a subscription to our YouTube channel, and you will get notification about upcoming videos. The last thing I want to mention before we get going is that in this video, we are not providing advice. The information offered in this video and the related materials are not intended to constitute legal advice, the rendering of legal concepts, consulting, or other professional services of any kind. We simply want to share with you information that we think will be helpful for board members as you navigate your organization through its governance and operations. By the end of this video, you will be able to explain how board members can fulfill their financial responsibilities of the organization, explain how financial responsibilities are related to the 4 key roles and 7 responsibilities of the board, and recognize that financial responsibilities and financial oversight are part of the duty of care of board members. In this video, we discuss the financial responsibilities of the board in a broad way. It's important to see the broader view of the board's responsibilities to know how those responsibilities overlap and support one another. It is important to know whether or not your organization is an incorporated nonprofit because there are a number of financial obligations that come with incorporation. These obligations vary depending on the act that your organization chooses for incorporation. For example, the bylaws of an organization that is incorporated under the Societies Act must outline the details about borrowing powers, the audit of accounts, financial officers, if and how members can inspect books and records of the society, the requirement to present a signed audited financial statement at its annual general meeting or AGM. Some organizations are not incorporated, although this type of organization, which we sometimes refer to as an unincorporated association, does not have a specific legislation it must follow. The people in the association should know and understand the financial activities they are involved in. As stewards of the organization, one of the fundamental roles of the board is the stewardship of the organization's resources. This means that the board is responsible for protecting the assets of the organization and overseeing its financial matters. In other words, the board must be actively involved in and understand how the organization's finances are managed, and they must be satisfied that the financial information is in order. This includes ensuring that proper accounting structures and processes are in place and that regular financial reporting is completed. However, it is not enough for the board to just ensure that appropriate and effective financial structures and processes are in place. The board must also understand its financial structures, processes, and reporting. This helps ensure that the board members have a true understanding of the organization's overall fiscal affairs. The board should be satisfied that the financial information they have reasonably reflects the organization's financial reality. For those of you that have viewed both Part 1 and Part 2 of our board roles and responsibilities videos, you will recall that the board has 4 key roles and 7 key responsibilities. We are going to go over them again and see what that looks like from a financial perspective. First, let's start with the 4 key roles. The first role of the board is defining and advancing the organization's purpose. This means that you and your fellow board members need to know what the purpose of the organization is and develop some kind of plan that will ensure that the organization fulfills that purpose. Having a clear purpose and plan usually involves financial resources of some sort to make it happen and to carry out the plan. The next one is ensuring, developing, and conserving resources of the organization. This is about both financial and human resources and the organization's property. What financial, human, and property resources does the organization have? Does the organization have all the resources that it needs, or does it need more? How will the organization obtain these resources? And perhaps the most important question is, what does the board need to do to ensure that it understands what resources it has and what resources it needs? The next key role is providing oversight to the organization's affairs. We like the idea of active oversight because it means that you're always finding out more. You're finding out more about your organization and how it's operating, and about what the board's role is in the organization. And this is certainly related to the financial affairs and financial information. The last one is engagement. This is something that really talks about relationships. Engagement could be an outreach with external stakeholders. It could be with internal stakeholders such as staff and volunteers. And very often these relationships are related to financial matters. We will talk more about this in the responsibilities section. So let's keep these 4 roles of boards in mind when we discuss the responsibilities of the board related to financial matters coming up next. Linked to those 4 key roles are 7 responsibilities that the board members have. Let's take a look at financial responsibility first, even though it is listed as the 5th responsibility on the slide. It includes financial management and reporting financial statements, setting a budget and monitoring variances, along with the fund development to ensure sufficient resources for the organization. In other words, the boards must be involved in the management of the organization's finances, and they must be satisfied that the financial information is accurate. The board must ensure that the proper accounting structures and processes are in place and that financial reporting is completed. As we said earlier when describing the board's role in the stewardship of the organization, it is not enough for the board to just ensure that appropriate and effective financial structures and processes are in place, although that's very important. The board must also understand these structures, processes, and financial reporting. This is so that the board has a true understanding of the organization's overall fiscal affairs and is able to satisfy itself that the nonprofit's financial information reasonably reflects the organization's reality. Another thing to mention here is that it is not always the favorite topic for board members who want to get in there and make a difference in the organization. Nevertheless, whatever level of understanding of financial responsibilities you have, when you arrive at the board table, you need to have a good understanding of what the financial activities of the organization are. It's very important to know where the organization is spending money, and it's very important to set up processes or controls, as we sometimes refer to them, to ensure that the board can get the latest information about what's going on in the organization. It can be complex, so if you don't understand what is going on, ask questions. That's the number one thing, ask questions. Although financial responsibilities is the obvious board responsibility that relates to financial matters, the other 6 board responsibilities have connections as well. Let's walk through the others and examine how they are related to financial considerations. The first one is organizational purpose and planning. This includes understanding your organization's vision and mission. With the vision and mission in mind, you can create a plan that will get your organization to where it wants to be. So how does this responsibility relate to the finances of the organization? A clear organizational purpose and plan informs where financial resources need to be allocated best in the organization. With a clear purpose and plan in place, board members are able to make good decisions about where to allocate resources for projects, staff, programs, and initiatives. Resource allocation decisions are aligned with the purpose and plan of the organization. Part of your legal responsibilities include understanding what external and internal rules affect your organization. You need to follow financial external rules. For example, supplying audited financial statements to members at an annual general meeting and submitting those to Alberta Corporate Registry. There are rules related to the donations that you receive. For example, if you are a registered charity, you have to follow guidelines for giving out tax receipts to people who donate. You should follow your internal financial rules that your organization and board make, such as membership fees, refunds, and registration fees. But legal responsibilities related to financial matters don't simply end with external and internal rules. You also have a fiduciary duty related to financial responsibilities. Fiduciary duty is a legal term that refers to a person who, because of the position they hold, such as a board member, has a responsibility to act primarily for another person's benefit. The most fundamental responsibility that a board member has is the duty to act with a view to the best interests of the organization at all times. Fiduciary duty can further be broken down into two branches: the duty of care and the duty of loyalty. Duty of care means to be informed and act with competence and diligence to a standard of care. That is to say, what a reasonable person would do under the circumstances. Duty of loyalty refers to the fact that a board member has the duty to act with a view to the best interest of the organization at all times. So how does this look from a financial responsibility perspective? You have a fiduciary duty to ensure accountability and oversight of the organization, including its financial management. That includes a personal responsibility to understand financial information and understand financial implications of your decisions and actions. For example, this includes the expectations that a board member would do their homework and ask questions, that they would be well informed before approving financial related business such as budgets, financial statements, expense payments, and staffing costs. This also includes the duty of loyalty, which is part of your fiduciary duty. A board member has the duty to act with a view to the best interests of the organization at all times, and thus should refrain from financial conflict of interest situations. For example, participating in and approving the payment of a painting contract to a board member's relative. In this situation, a board member who votes to approve a contract that benefits their relative could be in a conflict of interest situation. Okay, now let's return to the next board responsibility with financial implications. Creating an ethical culture and practicing good governance. This includes an understanding of how you want to behave as an organization, and it is the board's responsibility to set that example. So, your board may want to develop some working principles and good governance practices that are related to financial matters. These practices could be similar to the following examples. Support a board environment where it is safe and that it is encouraged that everyone ask questions about financial matters. Providing budget drafts to all board members at least 1 week before they meet and discuss them. Providing a formal orientation session on financial matters of the organization in the first meeting after the AGM. And pairing new board members with experienced board members to review the budgets. Managing risk and liability. This responsibility is all about understanding what sorts of risks your organization is exposed to. Every organization has risks, but what are some of the high-risk areas that will affect your organization? Risks can be related to the safety of facilities, equipment, and members. If the board does not consider such risks, they may be liable and may have to pay money for the harms that result from damages or accidents. Or risks can be directly related to financial matters. For example, you may not have a plan to generate income for your organization. That's a financial risk. The point here is that managing such risks is one component of good financial management. Leadership and working as a team. You work together as a team and demonstrate leadership as a board in all organizational activities, including financial matters. For instance, all board members are responsible for the overall management of the organization's resources. The responsibility does not simply fall to the treasurer or the senior manager of the organization. Although boards have a treasurer who is authorized to fulfill specific financial duties, the treasurer is not the only board member who has financial responsibilities. In fact, all board members share equally in the stewardship of the organization's finances. Everyone on the board needs to feel responsibility, take ownership, ask questions, and show leadership in financial matters. Just because you may think that financial matters are not your interest or strength, you cannot leave these matters to other board members. You need to do your own due diligence and demonstrate and role model leadership as a whole board on financial matters. If somebody is struggling with financial matters of the organization, we need to take the time to explain to them that board members have to make sure that they know what is going on. You may even need to provide them with mentorship on financial matters. It is therefore important that all board members understand that they have financial oversight responsibilities and that this oversight is part of their fiduciary duty. The last responsibility is relationship management. A number of internal and external relationships that boards have are connected to financial matters. Internally, the board may have relationships with the treasurer or the auditors, or with members to ensure that they are clear about the organization's finances. The relationship could also be with the senior manager or executive director of the organization to provide financial information and financial reports on running programs and facilities, member activities, events, registrations, and other organizational activities. Externally, the board needs to maintain good relationships with funders and donors. The board even wants to have a good relationship with the corporate registry and provide the required financial documents every year. Although financial responsibility is the most obvious of the 7 responsibilities of the board, you can see that the other 6 responsibilities also support good financial oversight and are closely related to financial responsibilities. This brings us to the end of our video on financial responsibilities. Thank you for watching. Our contact information is on the slide, and they are in the toolkit as well. If you are in Alberta and you have a question, or you need further information, or would like to request services, you can contact us through the email and phone. You can also access our website to know more about our resources and services. And also, if you want to be informed of our future services and resources, you could add your email address to our subscription form, and you will receive information about these services and resources as they become available. The link in the subscription form is in the description of the video as well. Thank you for your attention. Take care, stay healthy, and always remember that our communities have so much more because of everything you do. Thank you, and bye for now.